Joe and Angela's marriage is on thin ice. When they invite their enigmatic upstairs neighbors for a dinner party, the night spirals into unexpected places. This is more of an emergency episode, and we're talking about The Invite today, which is directed by Olivia Wilde, written by Will McCormick and Rashida Jones, and this movie is a American English language remake of the 2020 acclaimed Spanish film The People Upstairs, which is written and directed by Cesc Gay. Personally, haven't seen that film. I would like to now, but it came out in 2020. This is an American remake of that. We see a lot of those these days. Cinematography is done by Adam Newport Berra, and composing the film is done by Devonte Hines. So, a lot to break down here, and we have a lot going into this movie that we need to know for the film to make a little bit more sense. So, going into this movie, Olivia Wilde, let's talk about her for a second. She's really the only thing we could talk about for a second here. Olivia Wilde is a director, and the only film I've seen from her previously was Booksmart, which was a pretty cool movie. I enjoyed it. It's kind of a modern day Superbad. It is a very okay way to describe Booksmart. It's definitely, you can say, a modern day cult classic in a way. Booksmart, solid movie. It's not one of my favorites, but a lot of people really enjoy it. It gives off those 2000s comedy vibes, and it's a cool movie. Now, going on into 2020, Olivia Wilde and Jason Sudeikis, the other actor, were in a relationship and engaged. They had two kids for a while, and they had a messy divorce. It was all in the public eye, and it was pretty bad. Relatively bad in terms of custody battle and this, that, and the third, and court cases, hearings, and all that. It was a rocky, bumpy divorce. Wasn't very clean at all. They had two kids. That definitely kind of shake things up a little bit in that regard. So she had a pretty public and open, messy divorce in early 2020. Lasted a pretty long time, relatively, for that relationship there. It was a pretty big process for them to go through. And then after this, 2020s, it's still maybe still be happening right now, but relationship ended in 2020s. Her next follow-up movie after Booksmart and also after following her split from Jason Sudeikis was Don't Worry, Darling, which is a film that I never saw personally, mainly because I didn't really want to. I'm just going to be honest there. But this movie starred Florence Pugh, and also it starred Harry Styles, Chris Pine, Olivia Wilde herself was in the movie, Gemma Chan, Nick Kroll, a pretty strong and big cast. And this is her following up off of a very big critically acclaimed film, starring very big critically acclaimed actors. This is supposed to be a relatively large movie. This film had a lot of hype and things being talked about around it, but for the wrong reasons, you can say. This movie didn't get any kind of Oscar nominations, which is whatever, but the movie behind the scenes, a lot of things. I mean, I can go into an entire episode diving into all of the big major headlines around this movie. Everything happening behind the scenes was bigger than the actual movie itself, which is never a good thing in any regard for the most part. If the behind the scenes drama is bigger than the actual movie, you're doing something wrong here. Something's going on. We have to address it. There were mainly rumors about how the actors didn't really like each other on set and how Olivia Wilde was a bad leader. There was Olivia Wilde and Harry Styles were in a relationship while shooting the movie. Things were not very professional at the time. There were rumors about Florence Pugh, the lead actress, having to direct scenes because Olivia Wilde wasn't on set. That's a rumor, but that's insane to hear, and insane to have that be the press around your film. But that's what was going on with this movie. It's very rocky, very shaky. It was a lot of drama, and for that reason, in tandem with maybe the film not being received the best and maybe not making the best amount of money, I think Olivia Wilde may have been put in some form of director jail, and I assumed, and I think a lot of people assumed, that we would never see or hear from her ever again. Respectfully, that was the case for a while. And until The Invite came out this year, and I saw the trailer for The Invite, I wasn't that excited, wasn't that interested in the movie. I wasn't, jumping up in praise like, yes, I need to see the film. It was a thing that happened, I think, at Sundance, maybe South by Southwest. A bigger, film festival film that I didn't get to see because I didn't go to those festivals. But still, I wasn't that excited for the movie, wasn't most interested in it at all. And now, flash forward all the way to June 26th, 2026, which the film had a very minimal theatrical release. And then July 10th, 2026, it had a wider release. And that was when I started to see the reviews come in from my fellow letterbox colleagues. I saw a lot of very big reviews from different kind of reviewers and people that I respect in the industry gave this film some very high praise. So it was on my radar at that point, but this month and this year have been very big. So I had obviously Disclosure Day, and then I had The Odyssey, then I had Spider-Man, and I had The Backrooms, and also Obsession. It was a big year, and there's a lot of things going on, so I didn't really have any kind of time or interest to see the movie until last Friday. Last Friday, I saw this film in a theater, a very chill, standard showing of the movie. And I, was bored. It was a late night. So I was like, whatever, let's go see it real quick. It's right around the corner, 30-minute drive to the theater. I don't have any other plans, so let's go see The Invite. Saw The Invite. And this is, yeah, it's one of the ones for the year. This is a top five for me right now for 2026. This is a very phenomenal and very special kind of movie. And if you're kind of concerned on what the movie actually is, it's kind of hard to explain without going into spoilers. But basically, this couple is having a dinner party and they invite their neighbors and them are kind of talking. Things go kind of crazy. And the movie, I feel like, and I see, it centers around relationships and marriage and how rocky and messy things can be, regardless of what you do or how you approach it. Things are always going to be kind of messy and kind of weird and emotionally hard to get through when it comes to relationships. And this movie, it's cooler now. And I was watching a review from Carson Runkus on this movie, and it's very cool seeing her kind of do a follow up and kind of address her own relationship in this movie. And that kind of, you can maybe say, seeps into the performance and the way the dialogue is happening in the movie. And of course, Olivia Wilde didn't write the movie, but she is directing it, and she is one of the main lead actors in the movie. So it's cool seeing that, and it's very interesting seeing this almost retrospective look on her relationship in a way. And it's kind of weird and kind of sad, but I do enjoy it. I do love the acting as well from everyone in this movie. The acting all across the board is very, very good. And I understand that Oscars don't matter. We don't watch movies and we don't make movies because of Oscars. The Oscars is just an award. It doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day. It doesn't really give fully fulfillment to anything. But regardless, if I had to come out here and address, will this movie get Oscar nominations? I think it could, maybe, for adapted screenplay. I think it could maybe pick up some acting nominations. If seeing how the year goes on, we obviously have some performances in The Odyssey that I think are going to be definitely securing some nominations. But looking at Seth Rogen, I've been a Seth Rogen, just like everyone else in the world, for a very long time. I haven't seen Pineapple Express, but I have seen a lot of his other works. And Seth Rogen, an all-time actor, I love seeing his shift he's been doing into being in more serious roles. We saw him recently in The Fabelmans, the unofficial, official Steven Spielberg biopic, which he was incredible in. That's not a duo I thought I needed, but it was great. Olivia Wilde herself is also very good. Edward Norton is an actor that I really enjoy, and he is phenomenal. Penelope Cruz, I also think, is very, very good in the film. I would even call it a range, but the emotion that everyone has in the movie can feel constant, but the emotion that's displayed and the cadences and the acting and the dialogue of it all, the way it's all delivered, is so, so good. And even though this movie doesn't look the craziest, this isn't The Odyssey shot on 70 millimeter the entire way through. This is not Dune Part 3, but the cinematography for this movie, it's extremely, I would say, intricate. And as someone who isn't in film school, but I still like to somewhat study cinematography on the side, doing this movie in an apartment for majority of the runtime, about 90% of the film is in this apartment, 95, 98% is in the apartment. This movie cinematography is so intricate, it's so deliberate, and the way he goes about shooting this movie can look boring if it really wanted to. But the movie is going about a way with shooting this film to make it visually interesting, which is so cool. Being able to shoot inside of a crappy apartment and still bringing magic and bringing something interesting to the environments, it's very, very impressive. So to the cinematographer of this movie, it's just I think very, very masterful. The score for this film as well. This movie is mostly dialogue heavy. It's really just a conversation with these, two or four people in this apartment having a conversation. But the way the score carries the screenplay, the way the score can kick in these emotional moments, and the way the score can kind of dial out in the moments that it's not very needed. It's very cool as well. This is, I think, a very extremely intricate kind of movie. In a lot of other directors' hands and writers' hands, this film can be bad and sluggish and slow, but this movie, it knows exactly what to do and when to do it, and that I just have an immense amount of love for. And I think maybe my last pro, I would say, I mean, I think all the elements of this movie are great. Directing, cinematography, acting, writing, composition, everything. Set design as well can be so intricate and important here for the movie. The way the scenes flow and the way everything flows with this movie. It starts with the production design as well, which is also very, very good. But for me, I think the biggest pro for the film comes down to the themes for the movie. And I'm not going to go into spoilers for the film because I know that you may want to watch it. Maybe you don't, whatever. The movie's themes are very touching and frustrating and sad. I'd say this is also a comedy. It's very, very funny. I saw a review that said this movie is the funniest sad movie you'll ever watch for the year. And I agree. This movie, it does have a lot of incredible Seth Rogen modern day humor. But at the same time, this movie is also very, very sad. And I think that when it comes to talking about relationships and talking about marriage, and sometimes a marriage doesn't really work, and regardless of what you do with a marriage, it's not really going to work. It may work, but maybe you're going to be having to make trade-offs. That's kind of something that my coworker said to me, and I agree with him, is that it's all about trade-offs when it comes to getting married, having kids. It's trade-offs. On one hand, you can stay single. You can stay single, make six figures a year, save all your money, invest in a high yield savings account, Roth IRA, a very strong portfolio of S&P 500. You can do all of that incredible stuff. You can train for a half marathon, train for high rocks, train for an Ironman. You can get your very clean diet. You can drive a Bugatti and be like Andrew Tate. You can live in a high-rise penthouse apartment. You can sleep with a bunch of different girls every single night and not have a single partner. You can do all of that if you want to stay single and not have kids. But on the other hand, the trade-off of that is being sad at some point. You might feel sad, or maybe you won't, but a lot of people will feel sad about not having their person in their life, their other half in their life, and not having fulfillment of being a father in their life. That's the trade-off of not getting married. And then the trade-off of getting married and having kids is you're going to be married, you have kids, you have to work a 9 to 5 job, you have to pay for daycare and groceries and for a mortgage. You have to come home from your 9 to 5 and immediately go to work on being a husband and a father. You have to be emotionally available for your wife. You have to be a father and help your kids with their homework and make sure they eat dinner and this, that, and the third, and make sure they're going to doctor appointments. There's trade-offs to all of it. And the end that I think that maybe you're never really happy. It was the line in Loki that said you just really have to pick your burden and pick your struggle that you have to go through in life. And it's true with marriage too. I think that we do evolve as people, and that does kind of find its way in this movie. I think that you do kind of evolve as a person, and it's kind of weird, tying it back into Jason Sudeikis and Olivia Wilde. Olivia Wilde, apparently, this is just on the internet, it says that they mutually realized they grew apart and they didn't really know each other anymore. That's what Jason Sudeikis and Olivia Wilde, apparently that's why they broke up. Who knows, right? That's their relationship, not mine. But I think that it's kind of weird how it ties into this movie that yes, you do kind of grow apart and you do grow as a person. And sometimes another quote from, what's his name, Matthew McConaughey, and he said with relationships that sometimes you're walking and the other person's running. Sometimes you might be in life grinding, going at it day after day, and then your partner is in a season of rest, in a season of appreciation instead of really working hard. So sometimes, and with this movie, it just kind of shows that marriage doesn't really work, or maybe marriage has hards and struggles, and being married and dealing with that stress, it is cool and it's very nice, but sometimes maybe it's not going to work out, or maybe you're not really in the working for it at the moment. It's hard. I think marriage and relationships. It's a very deep conversation, a very long and hard conversation to have. But this movie, it does invite those conversations of struggle and those emotions that can really seep in, that you can sometimes just grow apart from someone. That maybe, I know that marriage in the Bible is supposed to be something that lasts forever, but maybe sometimes it's not really supposed to. Or maybe marriage is cool for a season and then maybe it's not supposed to work out ever again. Who knows? I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but I'm saying that maybe marriage is difficult and marriage is hard, and we really shouldn't shame others for being in hard points in their marriage and their life. It's very complicated and it's a very long and hard conversation this movie really does tackle and dive into. And the premise and setup of the movie of having these two different couples, one couple on the outside is very healthy relationship and they're doing all the right things and they're both emotionally happy. And then the other half of the relationship, or this duo that we have, the other relationship with Olivia Wilde and Seth Rogen, is a relationship that is on the rocks. It's on its last legs, and this relationship is rocky. It's very rocky and very stressful. They're always arguing and yelling. They don't agree on anything. They're not really on the same page. They're not really dialed in on each other's life that much. And they're both not very happy where they are in their career, and emotionally they're not where they want to be. So it's weird. It's weird, and it's a long conversation to have, and that's why I love this movie. I love stories that force me to think and force me to contemplate on my own life and my own relationship and my own journey through life. That's what this film does for me, and that's why I think it's truly a must-watch movie. It's one of the ones for the year. It's a must-watch film. So for plan of action, I say go see the movie. Go watch it. For me, this film is a B+. It's a very strong B+. I've seen people saying it's a masterpiece. I've seen people saying this is the best film of the year. I've seen people say this movie is better than The Odyssey. And I don't argue. I think that my score for this film can go higher if I really want it to. But for now, it's strong. It's in my top 4 right now for the year. And that may not change for the foreseeable future as we go on through to December. But let me know, did you watch this movie? Did you watch it? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Why? Why not? I want to know all of it. I want to know your opinions. Let me know down below in the comments, or if you want to send us a message, I don't really mind, a DM. Let me know what you thought of The Invite. It's, for me, this is a special movie, and I spoke about it in January. I spoke about it again this month. Every single year, there's always a movie that comes out of nowhere, and it just is phenomenal. The Invite is one of those movies, a film that it's on my radar, but I'm not really interested in it. I wasn't really going to see the movie, and then I did, and I don't regret it. I would see this movie again. I would watch this movie again right now if I could, but I can't because I'm at home, and it's not streaming just yet. But until next time, that's enough of me yapping about The Invite. Go watch this movie. Go watch a movie every single day. And until next time, I'm Real Slogan, and I'll see you guys in the next one.